Okay, welcome to today's match of the Level Devilest speedrun tournament. We are getting close to the end uh, of the tournament. Today we are gonna have a rematch from the first round, but in the third round, it's gonna be farisstar45 versus kubabreak once more. Last time it was really close, but farisstar did manage to get the win. But both have improved their times a lot since then. So the outcome of this match isn't really certain. I noticed that I forgot to set up the stream completely. Like the final touches. Okay. So yeah. So without further ado, let's swap to the players, and both seem to be ready. So let's just start the match in 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh wow, we saw a perfectly synchronized start. That was really satisfying. And it's gonna make it very easy to compare the times. farisstar a tiny bit faster at the start, and gonna escape the cage here and the revolve 2. So he's gonna pull quite ahead to compare to Cuba. But I think the deciding factor of the match is gonna be the consistency of the players, because both can have really good runs with farisstar having a way better personal best than Cuba does, but in the tournament so far they performed pretty much at the same level. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. farisstar was or is the former world record holder, so he definitely is favored, and he manages to get another skip. But Cuba goes for the same thing, but is a bit too early on the jump and dies to the ceiling. But farisstar does not get the skip in gaps 5, so Cuba can get back a tiny bit of time here. But he misses the skip as well. So both are now onto boom, but farisstar is one level ahead. Yeah, and what I was trying to say, farisstar is the former world record holder, but then he had the match against Sidus, where Sidus got 2 new world records, and only after the match farisstar got a new personal best, just 0.2 seconds behind Sidus's world record. But it is not yet on the leaderboard. Only the world record farisstar did is on the leaderboard, and the world record Sidus did is on the leaderboard, not farisstar's run. But that's probably going to change pretty soon. farisstar is now onto Thorny. With a really strong run so far, Cuba had this tiny mess up with the skip in gaps 4, but except for that, he is on a really good run as well. But farisstar has quite the lead, as he also did a few more skips. So he's actually more than 10 seconds ahead already. Yeah, a really strong start for farisstar. Yeah, farisstar is now on to shove 1, while Cuba is just about to finish Thorny. There's not much to see here, but maybe farisstar is gonna do the tiny skip on shove 2, which could save him another second. But he does not get it or go for it. So, and again, an opportunity for Cuba to fetch back a bit of time. And he goes for the skip but does not get it. Oh, that is unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure why the timing was wrong. I feel like he actually was a bit too slow, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but what is certain is that Cuba also did not get the skip, so farisstar is still pretty much on the same lead, as both are playing these levels very cleanly. Yeah, except for the difference in the first couple of levels. Now both are in right. The only skip in right is only real skip in right is on right 3. So farisstar is really close to the point where we can see the skip. A lot of people struggled with the skip on the tournament, but not farisstar, with a very clean skip here. The only thing he could have done a teeny tiny bit better is go more to the right to start the block earlier. But Cuba gets the skip as well, so both are seemingly on the same level, but farisstar is already through, while Cuba still has to wait quite a bit. Yeah, still, it's not a huge time difference between the two players. So the outcome of the game still can change. Probably more in the second half of the levels. But even though the second half is the levels with who are just which are just way longer, I feel like most players are way more consistent with the second half. So we'll see. But so far they are still on hills, so not the second half. And yeah, both are going really quick through these tiny levels. Tiny, at least for in comparison to other levels in level Devilest. And farisstar is now in the mini boss level with a very strong time. He is going the diagonal way, so a tiny time save here. And Cuba is also in the mini boss now. I think the time difference between them is still pretty much the same, but Cuba goes to the left. So farisstar is gonna edge a bit forward. Okay, entering the door roughly at 7 minutes and 32 seconds. And already on lift 1 with the quick lift skip. And Cuba is gonna enter at 7 minutes 48. So 16-second time difference, roughly. And oh, we are gonna see farisstar going for the lift skip in lift 3. That is pretty rarely seen. But this is looking really good. Very nice. He gets the lift skip. Cuba, I think, going for it as well. I think the setup is correct because he Yeah, and he gets it as well. Very nice. So even though we saw a very rare skip um, by farisstar, we also saw it for Cuba at Cuba's run. So not going to be a time difference between the two runners. Oh, but Cuba got stuck on the um, ceiling a bit, so he is gonna lose one lift on lift 5, but no at clones as well, but farisstar already is in clones 3. And now into clones 4, which looks like a clean skip here. Very nice. Cuba is just entering clones 3, while farisstar is almost done with clones 5. So farisstar is gonna enter runner first. Cuba also with a clean clones 4 skip that looked a bit scary, but everything's fine. And farisstar is already done with runner 1 when Cuba is just now entering the level. Yeah, so far both runners are playing their best, except for the tiny mistakes on Cuba's side in the beginning. But if both players keep on performing, yeah, pretty much the same, then it's still not going to be enough for Cuba to take back the first round. But there are still a lot of levels left, so still the possibility of a mistake on farisstar's side, so that Cuba can catch back up, because he's not far away from farisstar. Only around 15 seconds was it? So one death in the longer levels or one unlucky glitch can make the difference in this match. So we are probably gonna see what happens in arcade, because that is pretty much or earlier. That is a very unfortunate death by Cuba. Jumped a bit too early in runner 5 and is gonna die. That's gonna cost a lot of time. So runner 5 is such a long level, and farisstar is already done with enemies too. He's having a really, really strong run. I think farisstar hasn't died so far, and also has gone pretty fast. I don't know the timestamps for sure, but he's definitely faster than most of the times we saw in the tournament. So if he doesn't mess up, not only is Cuba gonna have a very difficult time for the first round, but farisstar might even get another sub 21-minute run, or even a new personal best. We'll see. He's already onto falling, while Cuba is just now entering enemies 5, so it looks like not that much of a time difference between them, but enemies 5 does take quite a long time. farisstar on falling 2, avoiding the saws, while Cuba is finishing up enemies 5. Yeah, Cuba is, I think, more than 20 seconds behind now because of his death on runner 5. really unfortunate. But he still has a very good run. And if I am correct and farisstar could get another sub 21 minute run, then Cuba could still be on a new personal best pace, but I am not knowledgeable enough to say for sure. So we'll just have to see for the last couple of levels to tell for sure, I guess. Even though the match doesn't look that close, it's still pretty exciting to have such good runners here facing each other. farisstar onto arcade 1, so he does not encounter a glitch here. We saw a few glitches happening, I think, on arcade 1, which is just cruel because you can't do anything against it, really. And I think I jinxed him. He just had the glitch in arcade 1 right at the end, where the player goes too low and you just can't save him, and he's always gonna hit the spikes. No way. So this is probably just what Cuba needed. Even though farisstar still is a tiny bit ahead, the runs are pretty perfectly lined up, and almost got it again. Wow, that was so close again. Yeah, the runs are perfectly lined up, so they are only seconds behind now. Wow, I was not expecting that. Oh, that is a really unfortunate and massive time loss on farisstar's side. Yeah, but now they are both on the comment section in arcade 3. They are taking quite the different route. First, they're going right at the corner and getting in the door pretty much instantly after it spawned. So he is gonna go a bit faster than Cuba here. And both are on arcade 4. Cuba almost dying. farisstar close to dying as well. Messes up the movement a bit, and Cuba is going a bit faster, so he's getting close once more. farisstar reset after the first block didn't break, so now Cuba is just a tiny bit ahead because of the little glitch farisstar got. Wow. Cuba's run of arcade 5 does not look glitched to me. Yeah, it is pretty safe to say right now that it's not going to be glitched. So Cuba is going to stay just a tiny bit ahead to farisstar. And it's going to be decided in the last 10 levels. Now both are in glitch 1. A very short level. And yeah, they are just 1 or 2 seconds away from each other. farisstar going a bit slower than Cuba here, I think. Okay, not much. Actually, it was a bit faster, it looks like. Oh my goodness. farisstar is pulling ahead now because he moved through the invisible maze a bit cleaner than Cuba did. Both are now in glitch 4. Oh, Cuba going to the left a bit too early. And going to the right a bit too early. Oh no. So he actually dies once more. And is now a lot of time behind farisstar. farisstar managed to get back the time arcade 1 and arcade 5 cost him just by very clean gameplay. Cuba had the chance, but barely messed it up. And now farisstar is probably gonna take it, but we still have the last 5 levels. But farisstar always performed very strong in these last 5 levels in the tournament. So yeah, it would be pretty unusual to see him mess up on the last levels. But if he does, Cuba still has a chance. If not, then this might stay one-sided for farisstar at the beginning. Oh no, farisstar actually does mess up, but Cuba messed up as well, just at the same time, falling down. So it's still gonna be pretty much the same time difference. And farisstar is on to the second to last level. Even though Cuba did not mess up like farisstar, he messed up the second level of the last door, so he is still behind. farisstar now onto the last level. If he does not fall down on this level, he is gonna take the match and gonna end with a very strong time, probably gonna be, yeah, definitely gonna be a strong sub 21 minute time, but he actually falls down. No way. So Cuba is in the lead once more because of the mess up by farisstar. And once again, they are just inches from another. Maybe farisstar can get that time difference back by just cleaner movement. It looks like he's already pulling closer. But Cuba is still ahead so far. Oh. Oh, but was the cycle disaligned or was Cuba a bit slower than farisstar? Because I thought they should. Oh no, of course, farisstar's time, farisstar's cycle was misaligned, so he could go through instantly, while Cuba had to wait a tiny bit, and Cuba falls down a bit in the end, so farisstar is still gonna take the match one with a time of 21 minutes and 36 seconds, and Cuba right behind with a time of 21 minutes and 41 seconds. Wow, what a match! That was a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, so very close match, only 5 seconds apart from each other, but still farisstar is gonna take the first round. And I'm just gonna update the score and then we're gonna take a quick 5 to 10 minute break to calm down once again, and yeah, I'll see you afterwards. Okay, as promised, we are back again as both players are now back from the break. And now we can resume with the second match of this game. This is going to decide if we're going to take it to the third game for the first time in the tournament. Yeah, but I guess we'll just see how it goes this time. And let's just start the match in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, once again, pretty parallel start here, but whoa, okay, we saw a bit of lags here on Faristar's side, and he did die in Revolve 1, so he is gonna be a bit behind here at the beginning. And quick death once more, but that's not really gonna change a lot. But so far Cuba can keep his lead. But just his last match, Faristar did go for the skip in Revolve 2, but Cuba didn't, so Faristar already fetched back a bit of time from his unfortunate death in Revolve 1. It looked like he had a bit of lags there as well. At least his stream lagged, so yeah, sadly we can't do much about that. Oh, Cuba resets after dying twice on gaps 4, so Faristar is pretty much at his tail once more, as both hit the skip first try this time, and Cuba did get the skip on gaps 5. Faristar did not, so Cuba is pulling a bit from Faristar once again. Yeah, Cuba now on to yeah, both are in boom 3, boom 2, now Cuba in boom 3 already. Going to the right for the quicker route. Faristar does the same thing, so yeah, they are pretty much on the same pace right now. If I'm watching the timer correctly, they are only around 1 second apart from another. Okay, it's actually a bit more. It was around 2 or 3 seconds, and Cuba had a death in boom 5, and I'm not sure, maybe he jumped or pressed anything, but that would be pretty unusual for such a high level player, so I am suspecting that he just encountered a glitch which made it so that the spikes killed him. But that didn't affect his position for long, as Faristar did mess up in Thorny 1. So Cuba is back at in the lead already. So yeah, we saw a few tiny mess ups here from both players, which is gonna keep the match exciting. But still, everything can change. Faristar, I think, goes for a bit more skips than Cuba does. So, and we saw him get back time just by running through the levels a bit cleaner. So maybe he can get back the time difference between the two. Cuba going for his little strategy where he does not skip the last push back, but instead goes through it as soon as possible. So still pretty quick. Yeah, and they are just pretty much head to head. Cuba with the tiny lead still hanging on to the to the lead, I guess. um okay. Yes, is there even a time difference now? Because first did start the run a tiny bit later than Cuba did, so maybe there isn't even a time difference anymore. And Forrester has already made good the time he lost. 5:21. Okay, there still is a time difference. Cuba still is ahead, but um, yeah, almost no time difference, which is just insane. Just what you'd expect from the number 2 player on the leaderboard. Well, not, still is the number 2 player on the leaderboard, even though his current personal best isn't even on the leaderboard. Um, okay, now they are both gonna finish right one pretty soon. Um, what am I saying? Of course, not right one. I meant right in general, like the door right. So they were finishing right 5 to end right. And yeah, after the a bit messy early game up to Thorny, we didn't see a lot of deaths afterwards. And with a lot of deaths, I mean, of course, mean no deaths at all. So they are both just inches from another end. Oh, no way. I was just gonna say Cuba did have a tiny mess up, so first I can get back in the lead, but then first I messed up as well, both dying on hills 4. So Cuba still keeps his leading position into minibus. So it's gonna stay pretty close first with the tiny skip, maybe getting back the time difference. Yeah, pretty much. They are pretty much head to head now. I think first I might even be. Ah, it's too close to tell. It's too difficult to tell because this time we didn't get the perfectly symmetrical start. But I think first actually is just a tiny bit ahead to Cuba. Um, at least they are very, very close to another, which you can, of course, tell. And both are gonna go for the are gonna try to go for the lift skip on lift 3. This is looking like both can hit it, but Cuba misses the. Oh, whoa. Okay, I thought Cuba just barely messed it up because he missed the um, button, but then first seemingly didn't get it as well, which was a bit unexpected for me. So they are still pretty much at the same pace, but first is just a tiny bit ahead to Cuba now. And with that, they are entering clones. Last match, it only got with the death for Cuba. That is unfortunate. I just wanted to say that it was so close, and last match it only changed. It only got close after the glitch in Arcade 1 for farisstar. So and just then Cuba did have the death, so farisstar is gonna get a pretty huge lead from that. Oh, but dies in clones 4, so they are very close together once more. This is crazy. Even though both are not having the best run, they could it's yeah, it's still such an interesting match because both are so close to another. Um, let's hope at least this time we are not gonna encounter a glitch in arcade, because this time it would be really frustrating if that is gonna change the outcome of the match, as both players are just so incredibly close to another right now. So it would be nice if just the cleaner movement or something changed the outcome. And Cuba dies on runner 2 because he tries to go through the gap from the top, which I wouldn't recommend, as I feel like only on the bottom one you really get stuck if you land on top of it and not on the top. So he said he got stuck at the block on the bottom and died right at the end of the level. So farisstar has now a pretty big lead, even though they were just they were close together just before. So farisstar is almost done with runner 5 now, while Cuba is just entering it. That is a very large time difference. Wow, I was not expecting that. Oh, with a tiny bit of lag on farisstar's side. At least it looked like lag. Or was the enemy not moving for a tiny bit, but that would be really weird. But both are still on the same door, so nothing too bad yet. Still a time difference that can be fought back by Cuba. And I don't think I should commentate matches anymore, because I am just jinxing everybody. Just as I was saying, kubabreak could get back the time. farisstar dies on enemies 4, so Cuba gets back a lot of the time, not all of it, but they are really, really close together once again. I think only, okay, actually enemies 4 is just taking far longer than I thought, so still a bit more than 10 seconds. But they are on the same level once again, and not levels apart from another. farisstar is gonna finish up enemies 5 now and enter falling, while Cuba is right at the end of enemies 5. Struggled a tiny bit with hold up. What happened on farisstar's screen here? I think he escaped the spring and still got jumped upwards. That was very confusing. Did he not manage to skip the spring? What? Well, at least he got jumped up in the end, so Cuba is gonna inch closer once again. And yeah, still falling 3 takes a long time, so there's still quite the time difference between them, but Cuba is just getting closer and closer. Once again, it can be decided in arcade. Yeah, only 10 seconds away now. So this is still everyone's game. So each even tiny mess up can change the outcome. Whoa, I almost thought I jinxed it again because first I just went into the door so late, probably not to overshoot it, but that was just so incredibly late. I thought he would miss it and fall to the right of the door, but he got in, and both are now in Arcade 1. Pretty much the same game state as we had last time. What I mean by that is, yeah, first is just now finishing Arcade 1, this time without a glitch, very nice. And Cuba is almost done with it as well, but still a bit behind. And they first is through with Arcade 2. Let's see if he can pull off the fastest Arcade 3 strat. I know, and instantly enters the door. Very nice. It's pretty insane to me how he navigates the Arcade 3 level. I think Cuba does not have the usual Arcade 3 setup. I think that was glitched once again. First up, barely avoiding the death on Arcade 4. Cuba accelerating pretty aggressively, and farisstar barely avoiding the death right at the end. Oh my god, that was so close. But Cuba did go through a bit faster than farisstar did. Very aggressive acceleration on the Arcade 4, and both are in Arcade 5 now. So far, just as I was saying, so far both haven't encountered a bug. Cuba's player just stops breaking the blocks, I guess, and he resets. Let's hope this fixed itself this time. It's looking good, but that's gonna lose him quite a bit of time. No way, that is so unfortunate. They were so close together this time as well, but now farisstar is already entering glitch 2 while Cuba is just getting close to finishing Arcade 5. farisstar did die once in glitch 2 and almost died a second time, but he's gonna finish it now on the third try. And is gonna go through glitch 3 very quickly. Cuba now onto glitch 2 while farisstar is entering glitch 4. Oh, that is cruel. Oh, Cuba having the same death as farisstar did, but farisstar is dying in glitch 4 as well. He went to the right there a bit. I think he just forgot he had to go to the left. Wow, this is just crazy what's happening in this match today. And farisstar is still ahead. What? Oh my god, I think he tried to stay at the left, but then forgot to hold, because you actually only not die if you actually keep on holding to the left, to the wall on the left, and therefore he died to the source, or he went to the right too quickly. So they are just head to head once more. farisstar is still ahead, but only a few seconds, and both are in glitch 5. Incredible. It's gonna come down to the last 5 levels once again. Cuba, okay, actually around 5 seconds behind, but if you remember that this is at least 21-minute run, at least around 21-minute speed run, then 5 seconds is just pretty much nothing. Okay, first on to first pretty close to the end of the second level in the last door. Cuba does not fall down this time. Let's see if they can do the springs quickly this time. First is looking good, but Cuba has a tiny mistake twice in a row, so is going a bit slower than Farisstar. So it's gonna come down to the last 2 levels. If Farisstar messes up, then Cuba still could take the victory of the second round. If not, Farisstar is gonna take it from here. At least the second to last level is gonna look clean from Farisstar. But now he's onto the last level where he did fall down last time. He said he felt like it's glitched a bit, so this time he did go a bit slower to not fall down, and it's looking good so far. But he's just gonna get to the springs now, where a lot of people do fall down, but not first. That looks like very nice. He's gonna get through, and yeah, there's not much that can happen. It would be really unexpected if Farisstar falls in the final stretch here. Cuba tries to go for the skip, but messes it up, so has to wait a bit actually. That is unfortunate, but in the end is probably not gonna make the difference. And Farisstar is close to finishing up the run here. Probably still a run sub 22 minutes, yes. And Farisstar is done with a time of 21 minutes and 57 seconds. I think, yeah, it was a bit slower than last run, but once more, Farisstar is gonna take the match versus kubabreak. And yeah, so the second match also got really close. Also sadly because of a bit of bugs in arcade, but there's just not really anything we can do about that. But Farisstar also takes the second round with a time of 21 minutes and 57 seconds versus Cuba's time of 22 minutes and 12 seconds. So with this, we sadly have to say goodbye to kubabreak. Thank you for participating in the tournament, but you are gonna be eliminated. I mean, it's not really something to be ashamed about, as you lost versus the second best player on the leaderboard, but you almost managed to redeem yourself in the rematch this time. Still, Farisstar is gonna move on to the last match of the losers bracket, but for this to be played, we still have to wait for the last match of the winners bracket, which is gonna take some time because sadly Ido has a pretty packed schedule in the next few days, so we had to move it to April 14th, probably on 4 p.m. UTC +2 time. So if you want to watch that, I'll see you then, and if not, there are still 3 matches afterwards, as we still have to play the last match of the losers bracket, and then the finale and the game for the third place. Yeah, but I am pretty much done here. Thank you for watching this match, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye bye.